kind of our own lava lamp. Most of the stuff that I looked up required Alka-Seltzer droplets, which I did not want to use because that is a type of medicine, those little tablets that they use for Alka-Seltzer. So instead of using that, I tried finding something that we could do without using a medicine. And I think I found one. I tried it out earlier and it worked pretty well. So we're gonna make a lava lamp. You'll notice I have a water bottle that's filled just a little bit more than halfway. I have some cooking oil. This is just canola oil. I have my food dye again. I have a cup so that I can mix the food dye with the oil, and then I also have some salt. All right, so the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm going to make my water blue. So I'm gonna add a couple little drops of my food dye to make my water blue. Now, the easy thing about this is I can put it right in, put my lid on, shake it up, and it'll blend a little bit faster than having to stir it. All right. And again, since I have the gel, you're gonna see I've got these little snakes floating around in there from the gel, but it's mostly blending in there. All right, so there's my blue water. Now I'm gonna put some oil in a cup. These are just cheap little plastic cups, that way I can mix. Now you do not have to dye your liquids at all for this. You can keep it with just the plain color of water, the clear water, and the yellow oil. You'll still be able to see the difference without the food dye. So don't think that you have to have food dye to do this. It works either way. I'm gonna make my oil red. Just add a little bit in here. I'm gonna mix that up as best as I can. Hopefully it will start turning it red, but it doesn't look like it's going to. And I bet it's because of the type of food coloring that I have. This kind of goes back to the density lesson that I had, because the food coloring is not mixing with the oil. So we'll still be able to see the difference because my water's blue and the oil is that yellowish color. Now, I do not have a funnel, so if you have a funnel, you're gonna wanna use a funnel to help you pour this. I don't have one, so I am going to carefully pour. That's why I have paper towels all over the place. And even just now, you can see the oil bubbling up from the water. And you can see it separating. You can see the bubbles as it's separating from the water. I'm gonna let that settle for a minute and get all this stuff out of the way. Okay. Now, since we already have some bubbles, I think it might actually help us a little bit. So the slower you pour, the less bubbles you're gonna get. But you see how it's separated. Now we have all of our water on the bottom. We have the vegetable oil on top. Now I'm just gonna pour straight from my salt because I have a ton of salt. You're probably not gonna wanna pour too much. You're gonna wanna do it by the spoonful, but you'll still get the same effect. So you're gonna notice that as the salt sinks down, it's going to take some of the oil with it. And then once it starts to settle, the oil is gonna bubble back up again, and it's gonna create kind of like a lava lamp. Now, I don't know, are you gonna be able to zoom in a little bit on this? Okay, so here we go. We're gonna see if we can see this reaction here to make a lava lamp. Just gonna pour some salt, let it sink down, and you can see the bubbles immediately start to rise. And then it's kind of nice and slow and steady, just like a regular lava lamp. You start seeing some bubbles come up. So we've got some bigger bubbles, we've got some smaller bubbles. And it's just kind of like a lava lamp. And that's because, like we talked about earlier when we talked about density in the other experiment, The water is more dense than the oil. It has more mass to it. So that means that the oil is going to want to come to the top. It's going to float almost. So you can do this several times. You notice that my water bottle still isn't full. So if you have enough salt, again, I try not to do too many things with food because you need to cook with your food. But since I have enough salt, you can do it again, or you can keep adding spoonfuls and keep seeing this reaction. And just watch the bubbles float. And it's kind of very much like a lava lamp. Now, I tried this earlier too, and it's not quite as good, but if you can put your lid on nice and tight, you can almost get that reaction by flipping it and letting everything settle on the top, and then flipping it again and watching the bubbles go. And then you'll see where they're coming from. You can see these little lines where the oil is on the side, and you can just watch those bubbles come up. And if you want to do that multiple times, I didn't shake it really hard. I just kind of let it settle and then flipped it back over. And you can still kind of get the same reaction even without the salt. If you really wanted to try the other way, make sure you do it with a parent. Alka-Seltzer is a type of medicine. So you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna have your water filled most of the way. You're gonna put a little bit of oil, and then what you would do is you would just break up an Alka-Seltzer tablet and drop it in, and the fizz creates carbon dioxide, which is going to make everything bubble, 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 and you're really gonna see it because you're gonna see all those bubbles, and it's gonna constantly be mixing the two liquids. So you're gonna be able to see that reaction last a lot longer than you are with the salt. But make sure you have a parent do that with you if you choose to do it that way. All right, so I hope you guys enjoy, have fun, and enjoy watching your little lava lamps. See you later.